Yeah. So we are talking about the law society compliance documents under accounting systems, especially when it comes to your monthly compliances, your year-end compliances, not just for audits, also for making sure your month-end is done. When it comes to year-end, your annual report needs to be submitted, for which again you need to make sure all of these ledgers and journals are in order, in place, so that you can take out the numbers and just fill out the forms very easily. At the same time, you're also able to guard your firm's health, making sure the numbers are matching with your bank statements, bank records. That's what we use for bank reconciliation statement. We're able to reconcile accounts well. Now, all of these falls under law society compliances. Now, where do we start this? Now, when you go back in time, people were definitely doing things manually. Now, no one talks about even manual data entry, but let's just say, for sake of it, we all started off with manual data entry, and then it got evolved into spreadsheets, and then got into general accounting software, which means like, QuickBooks and other things. But now, even more precisely, we're working on legal accounting systems like uLaw, where, all that you got to do is enter information, and you will see that the reports are handy. Reports are provided in such a way you're legally compliant with law society. You're ethically compliant too. So all of these are necessary to keep yourself compliant, to keep your practice compliant with law society, and making sure that you're also able to demonstrate all of these with meaningful statements to your client, to yourself, to law society, to auditors, to banks, etc. Right? So starting off with ledgers. Now, there are about 10 documents, so 10 statements that you will have to generate every month and month. Starting off with ledgers, there are 2 ledgers, there are 4 journals, there are other documents like fee book, Form 9A, reconciliation documents. So ledgers being trust in general, every single transaction that goes under trust, both receipts and disbursements are recorded under one particular statement, and each ledger has running balances. These are the examples at the bottom, which starts off with, receipts, clients' receipts, and then disbursements. Reduce them both. You see balance here, which is called as running balance. Making sure the client's particulars are entered. You have the invoice number, etc. Upon that, you also have journals. 4 journals are there. You have receipt journal, trust receipt journal, general receipt journal, trust disbursement journal, general disbursement journal. All of them are entered, and you have the following samples that shows you for journals. It's a little bit more drilled down data, like I mentioned, which is showing you the source of funds, the purpose of funds, amount, and the method of transaction, which is most important, because we want to show you, rather you want to show the auditor how legitimate the transaction was with all of these method of payments, method of transactions, which was entered with the numbers, so that you want to make sure all of these are completely relevant to this particular file. And as you proceed further, you have reconciliation statements. There are 2 types of reconciliation. One is trust, another one is general. When it comes to trust, now you have definitely an accounting procedure that demonstrates all of the transactions in one account that needs to be matched with bank statements or bank records. Now, when it comes to bank statements or bank records, you definitely have a little bit of differences, because it's not always the same day on which the bank processes the transactions. It could be the next day. By then, it could be the next month because let's say you're doing something on 29th, it doesn't get cleared on 30th or 31st, it gets cleared on the 1st of the next month. There's a little bit of delay and there's a little bit of lag. So these are like called as outstanding checks, uncleared checks. There could be bank errors. There could be deposits that you've probably forgotten to deposit any check. Those are called outstanding deposits. So you always take a balance as per your bank statement, reduce the outstanding checks, add any outstanding deposits, and then plus or minus the bank error, depending upon whether it's positive or negative bank error. And then you have the trust comparison reports. All of these form part of the reconciliation of trust account. When it comes to general, you don't have any of these bank errors, but rest of it all stands the same. Now, under Law Society compliances, now you also have other documents. We saw 4 journals: the receipt journal, trust receipt, trust disbursement, general receipt, and general disbursement journal. There are 2 ledgers so far, 6 documents. Then you have other documents like fee book, Form 9A. You also have deposit slips, and all of these are, I won't say they're compulsory, but if you are transacting electronically, moving funds from Trustee General electronically, then you need to definitely have Form 9A in place. Now, you're someone who doesn't do trust transfer electronically, you do it through check or you do it through you walk into the bank and ask them to transfer. Those are bank teller transactions. Nobody does that these days. At least not many of them do the trust transfers that way. They're all online done. Mostly if you're electronically doing these transactions, then please make sure to download a Form 9A and represent it into that particular file. There are also cash deposit slips, receipts to be deposited each time you deposit the slip, and you keep it in the particular records so that you have all of them handy. And you also have other documents such as cash receipts, other verification documents, could be client ID verifications, and all of those forms part of compliances. Now, it starts off with client intake form, where you have the client intake, which is also the Law Society compliances, which also forms part of Law Society compliance. And it probably ends when you have submitted the reconciliation statement or any other Law Society compliances with financial management, mostly because financial management is the end of it. And any of these records that you're able to generate from financial management perspective, which is, what you're seeing under uLaw screen, under Law Society compliance documents for financial management. It's all under this, the 2 ledgers that we already saw, the 4 journals. Journals are more drilled down version of what you're seeing. And other documents is fee book, expense book. Let's say if I take fee book with today's date, you will see how much fees. I think it was about 970 plus taxes or something, and 915 plus taxes. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you're recording them with taxes, without taxes. And with taxes, then how does it work? How does the taxes portion get into? Where does it go? So if you go into document generation, there's something called tax, and you can click on HST. If you're in Ontario, that's what you're going to be probably paying every quarter. You can just click on today's and see how today's HST works. So you received some amount on the legal fee, but you also spent, so it net off how much is it that you're paying. So you paid $720, you received $160. So this is what you owe to the government at the end of the day. Now that's the amount of, work at the back end that uLaw is able to do and provide you the crux of it, because you don't have to spend time doing all of this on your own. So this is important because you want to pay that amount every quarter to the, or rather the respective quarter or the particular quarter to the government. And when you click on complaints further into it, you will see more such as expense work, Form 90, and let's say you've forgotten to enter your Form 90 details earlier, so you're doing it now. And over here you have Form 90 from today's. So I transferred, I think, about $1,000, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So you see the $1,000 requisition Form 90 for George Nick. It's transferred from Trustee General, and we'll have a tally here. So Law Society compliance is all about entering information due diligently, ensuring that you have not missed out on any data. You have keyed in time to time, generated reports, provided it to your client. Like, let's say, for example, you go back into the matter to see the level of compliance involved in there. And you have client ID verification right from the time you intake a client to the time you close the file. You have set of compliance documents, right? So you have retainer letter, you have a checklist, you have authorization letter, you have statement of activity, summary, and other things. Along with it, you also have non-engagement closing letters. So non-engagement, something that we saw at the beginning of the where you have non-engagement. You have to issue a non-engagement letter. Let's say if you don't have any conflict, if you have conflict and you have not gone ahead with the file, you might want to give a non-engagement letter so that in the future you're not held responsible for any of your action, for any of the actions your client takes, or rather prospective client takes. And lastly, upon closing a file, a closing letter is very important because, again, you're letting your client know that you're done with the file and that you were really happy for the opportunity that was given to you, and you look forward to having them back in the future for something else. So that is what is called as closing letter, and you just give a good closure to the work that you had done for the client. So far we've seen a bunch of documents. I know that this probably goes around your head, but I want to take a quick pause here to know if I could show more examples. I want to see if you can, let me know what else would you like to see today. First, any questions? Do you want me to repeat anything over here? Everyone's clear with how to add a contact, how to probably do a conflict check, how to create a file, which is open a matter, add in like the matter title. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go over a little bit because we still have some time, but I think we have to discuss a little bit more on. No one has a question? Okay, no problem. I'm glad. I hope they understood. I hope I was not too fast, but at the same time, I'm happy to go over certain things, certain additional things that would help them do it better at their end when they're practicing. So I'm just going to go over a few things, few important things here. So starting off with adding new clients, you all have contacts. This is, please explore this page for adding clients. You can use the manual method. You can use the client portal. You want to use the document that you can download and fill it upon for your further use. When you go and click on Matter, a new file opens, and then this is where you're going to add your file name or title. Choose the area of practice. Any additional information, please enter it over here, including the hourly rate on the top. And then your docket goes into Matter events. Anything to do with disbursement retainer, as the name suggests. You raise the invoice by clicking on Invoice, completing it. If you want to do a preview, always recommend you to do one. And when you are under compliance over here, you get to do all of the recent, downloads that you need to. For example, you have client ID verification, you have a retainer letter. On top of my mind, if you ask me, I would say file opening checklist, client intake form, conflict screening, retainer letter, client ID verification. Everything is important when it comes to client intake. That's why we have bifurcated into 3 different categories as client intake, quarterly, client statements, and other documents. So quarterly client statements, if there's any file that is going on for a while, for especially more than 1 quarter, you're obligated to send out these documents to the client so they get an idea as to how it's being done. Other than that, you also have, when you go into accounts, let me show you where you enter disbursement. Then you enter invoice, you create the invoice, you are then going to click on question mark, transfer the money from Treasury General. We left the payments part. Now let's say the client owes you remaining payment. They send you the money into the general account. You enter the details so that you can issue the client with the receipt. Very important, receipts, just to know that you have issued upon receiving money into the general account. Okay, that is the receipt. Go into accounts, all of the expenses entered here, office expenses, other expenses, and you can also connect your bank. Once you connect your bank, it's easier, much easier. And you can also click on compliance to do your monthly compliances, which you already saw. So these monthly compliances reflect what you have keyed in. So if you are keying in wrong information, obviously you are not going to be able to get the right report. So make sure that you are aware of what you're entering, and then you could probably move forward. And lastly, I also wanted to talk to you all about the kind of AI tools that uLaw has with all of these docketing that has come in. We have where you can, use the letters and documents AI under that, or you can also simply click on an event. Let's say you finished a court hearing, you click on record completed court hearing on 29th of January at 4:28 p.m. and upcoming hearing details entered into the calendar. So you could just click on speech to text. I accept whatever I spoke into the mic right now, kind of gotten into, the in description mode, and save that. Make sure that it is going to be printed off your invoice, and you'll be able to go further on with it. Sure, Catherine, I can show them how to, when an error is made in the docketing, right? So a couple of things with the docketing part is you have to be careful is when you're docketing and you've not invoiced, it's all simple to edit and, like say for example, there are 4 dockets over here, of which 3 of them I've already invoiced. One of them, the last one, I have not invoiced. You know why? Because I can see the delete option in the same line. Come to the right-hand side and you'll see a delete option. I can just get rid of it by clicking on the delete and saving it. Now, if you have made a mistake with something that has already been invoiced, I just say go to action, click on delete invoice. You have to be on admin mode. So anything that you have to make sure you're on admin mode. First go to accounts, administrator, and enable admin. Now all of this is super simple. If you have not invoiced, you just saw me, I got rid of that by clicking on delete option. But if I've invoiced, then you click on accounts, administrator, become an admin, go to action, delete invoice. You should not have trust transfer the money. If you have trust transfer the money, then you will not be able to transfer from trust to region. You'll not be able to delete the invoice. Otherwise, you can just release the docket here and delete the posting, and it will be back to normal, where you can just simply edit and do it. I hope that answers the question. So it's 2 things to remember if you have, click on add new event. Let me show you. I want to get rid of this event. And let's say you save it for an instance. If I am not invoiced, then I can just click on delete over here and save it on the top. So the key is whether you have invoiced it or not. Is that clear to all of you? I hope so. All right, so quickly moving on to where we were recapping about how to probably import expenses and other payments, and other than manually doing it, you can also import your bank statement to do all of those. And when it comes to reconciliation, please keep in mind you have the bank statements handy for you to verify, and you enter the dates manually and make sure the balance is also entered in the second line. So these 2 steps, and then the third step, you can go down, stop clearing the transactions. Some of them will not appear on your bank statement. Some of them will be there on your bank statements. Which is missing here, you might have to respectively enter them. And once that's done, you're going to be able to see the clear deposits and all of the payments, and you'll be able to enter them as if you're reconciled. So once these are same, you can reconcile, and the reconciliation button will be shown on the bank statement on the top. And over here you have preview button, which is used when you are only going to preview and that you're not going to go further on with final reconciliation, probably because you have other things to note. And one of that is if you have an entry that has not been completed in the books, you realize that you want to enter that before you're done with the final reconciliation. So over here, you'll see the last entries that I've made is under George Nick. The $200 that I had received and the $1,000 that I have moved from trust to the general. So these are the 3 transactions that I entered today. So you will see all of them over here, which you can clear it off as soon as you see on the bank statement and complete this month's reconciliation. And then when you go back, you also have general reconciliation. Under general, you also have credit card reconciliation. Okay. Those are the part of bookkeeping compliances. Please do keep in mind that generating these journals, ledgers, reconciliation documents, fee book, Form 9A, expense book, these are very, very important, and you record them as you go ahead whenever the events take place. Don't wait until the month end to do it. From my experience, that's one of the reasons why you need to have the software handy. You can make financial records and bank records as close as possible than waiting until the month end to make all of it. So the reconciliation is a simple task. Lastly, these are not just done because you want to keep yourself compliant with Law Society, but there's so much ease of use you're going to see with using a program. And especially when you're practicing, like I said, you're a sole practitioner or you're a small firm with a couple of them handling all of it. Software will enable you to keep things on track and, at the same time, be compliant. So it all covers everything that you need from end to end when you're a legal professional, fulfilling your obligations to the time you're accountable to Law Society, keeping yourself compliant. So do try this at your end, Catherine, and all of you. If you have any questions in relation to today's webinar or in relation to anything to do with uLaw, just shoot out your questions to support@uLawPractice.com. I'm leaving the email ID here so that, if any of you have any questions, feel free to email us support@uLawPractice.com. You probably have to allow us about 2 to 3 hours for us to respond, and we'll be happy to help you the time. Catherine, thank you. I saw your message. I hope I covered everything. I'm sure that there'll be more questions in your class later on when students are working on. Please feel free to email us on support@uLawPractice.com, or you can also reach out to us on our live chat. Live chats are available 9 to 5, but anytime before or after, please do send us an email. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Have a wonderful day. I'll send out these 2 recordings. Sorry, there was a little bit of disturbance in between, but I will be sharing both the recording links shortly. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.